Well, let's look at some other charts. Let's look at Santoma. And I want to start off here by saying that, remember, this is now one of the companies that there's a lot of investors that say, listen, this company is doing wonderfully and the momentum is up. And I was worried about Santoma almost, you can say, 18 months ago. I was nervous about it because the stock was just flying and everybody was happy. But what are we seeing here? We see a top there. We see another top there. That makes me nervous because that's what we call a double top. And the share is going down in buckets at the moment. And where will this double top be confirmed? Let's just draw in this line and then you will see. This double top formation will be confirmed when the share goes below 270. And believe it or not, if it doesn't bounce off 270 and it goes below that and it starts to consolidate below it, this beautiful company can go to 160. So just a warning signal to say that, remember, we can maybe be surprised by the ways shares can go down. Let's have a look at another stock. And I'm going to look at the stock with the name of Aspen. In actual fact, I think Aspen has been hammered to pieces, but at last it's showing that there's something of a turnaround happening. Look at this. Just shows you almost like a Santoma chart. Looks beautifully, and when it started to fall, it just fell off the cliff. Look at that. From about 291.45 all the way down to 140. Can you believe it? I mean, in a matter of, let's call it 8-9 weeks. That's very, very bad. But let's have a look. Maybe we can show you that there is an opportunity here. Let's have a look here. I just want to get a candlestick chart for Aspen. And I want to see if there's not an opportunity, because there's many viewers of this program that would love to buy, you can almost say Aspen. Well, there you are. I mean, it's still early days. There's the sell-off. Can you believe it? This is a daily chart of the candles. Aggressively sold off. And there's the clue again. And this is what I said before. You must sometimes look at the candles when things are really bad, just to see if there's not a turnaround. Now, this little dragonfly doji also signaled that something is going to happen. But what happens? There's my line. If you are keen on buying Aspen, and you did not catch this little bounce, you can almost say from 140 to 156, only above this line. This is a resistance line. Only above this line, and that line is waiting at 163.80. Only above 163.80, this chart will signal to me that there's maybe a turnaround for the, let's call it for the medium term, not even for the short term, for the medium term, because the stock has been hammered. Let's just go, and I want to show you something. I want to use, the 8-day moving average, just to see if it is a short-term bounce, or can we expect, a 26-day, a short-term bounce, or a medium-term. Let's go there. Just want to put in a 9-day moving average there. I'm going to put in a 26 and a 9, because that's usually for a medium to a long-term. And what it tells you that it has not been confirmed yet that the share wants to go up. So I stick to my guns. There's the resistance line. Only above the resistance line you can buy it, because then this, you can always say two formations for the medium term is starting to maybe cross over, because it should cross over if it gets there. Maybe make use then of a stop loss of 137.71. It's quite a big stop loss, but I mean your targets to the top is also nice up. It's 171.47, 179.28, 182.12, 192.78, and can you believe it? It can maybe go back all the way to 200 Rand if the stock really gets going. Remember, this is now one of those falling angels, because this was one of the stocks that everybody loved, and it turned into a dog of the market. I mean, Aspen murdered some long-term investors. And this is the one lesson also that I'm taking out of this year. There's no Holy Grail. There's no company that's going to surprise you year in, year out, forever without any proper correction. Yes, it will give you times where the market disappoints you. But I mean, Aspen is nasty. Just imagine you bought some stock at 300 Rand and you believed it's going to 600 Rand, and now suddenly the stock is at 159. and you are telling me I've got a long-term view. There's no problem with a long-term view when you are 30 or 35 or 40. But there's a big problem if you are 60 or 65 with a long-term view, because this is probably your pension money that you try to invest into a stock that will not disappoint. So the one lesson is, remember, stocks can disappoint. It's not a case that stocks will always surprise to the top. Well, let's have a look at another share. The other one that I like here is Impala Platinum. I showed it before on the charts. And what I like about Impala Platinum, it's starting to show us some very interesting moves. Let's just draw out that lines. What do we see? We called the stock at around, I don't know, let's call it 17 Rand. I cannot remember. But we called it quite low in the move to the upside. Well, what happens is, let's just show you, it broke above this line. There's the line. And now I can also tell you exactly where we called it. We called it at 18 Rand 68. Our stop loss was close to around 15 Rand 60. It came back, it rallied, and what happened? You saw this lamp pole formation. Now this is what usually happens if stocks are under pressure for many years. Now let's just have a look here. Let's just maybe just take you a little bit back. This is Impala Platinum. And I mean, this was one of the dogs of the market for many years. Let's just have a look here. It's in actual fact scary. This is a weekly chart. Look at Impala Platinum. I mean, you will actually say, what a joke. I mean, it's a scary chart to look at. Now, I mean, it was at around 240 Rand. It's now 27 Rand. And it's starting to turn around. But this is the typical dog of the market stock. So I don't think you're too late to buy it. But I mean, there you are. It came back a lot. So it just shows you if it turns around, you can maybe see that the stock does that. From, let's call it 18 Rand all the way to 29 Rand in one go. But what I like about the stock, and I'll take you back to the weekly chart again. Let what we see here. We see what we call a beautiful bullish flag. Now, a bullish flag is a nice, interesting formation. A bullish flag is symptomatic of a share that wants to change the trend, that wants to go higher. So what it does is, it rallies up, and right at this point, some of the investors say, it's maybe time for us to lock in some profit. We had a nice rally from, let's call it 20 Rand to 28 Rand. We are going to lock some profit in. Then the stock goes back, and it forms a beautiful, you can almost say, ascending channel. And then when it breaks up again above 25.70, it resumes the uptrend. Now, this is a beautiful chart. This tells you that something is on the go with Impala, and it means business to maybe go higher. Now, let's just go back to that weekly chart. I mean, this is the trend. The trend is almost still 100% intact. Let's do a 40-week moving average on this chart. Now, why I'm showing this is that I think that there's still plenty to come in Impala Platinum. I don't think the rally is over. Now, what do we see here? I mean, there you are. Impala Platinum, 40-week moving average. Well, it was a resistance all the way. There was a brief breakup. What happens? Here we see a beautiful goodbye kiss on the 40-week moving average. For me, that is technically positive. And what do I say? I say there's a line. There's the resistance line. Remember, I'm looking here at the weekly chart. I'm not looking at the daily chart. The daily guys that bought it and maybe locked in some profits will probably buy again on that bull flag. But if you are now a long-term investor and you did not buy when this break took place above 23 Rand 60, when the 40-week turned into a support, the right way is to wait for it to rally, to come back, to test the 40-week moving average, and when it breaks above this line, 27 Rand 90, what do we see? We see a low, a higher low, a higher low, and that will be a higher high. That means it will be positive for the share. And that will tell you that the long-term trend of Impala Platinum is still to the downside. But it is starting to show some early signs of recovering, and maybe some early signs to maybe surprise you for quite a long time to the upside. What I like about Impala, and I've seen it during the years, your easy money in the stock market. And remember, There is guys that's been in the stock market for 30 years. They will say, just Frans, you buy the stock and you just keep it and you just hold on and you smile to the bank. But for me personally, I haven't got that 30, 40-year view on investments. I feel that life has changed and you need sometimes to have a shorter term view. I say, if you get a share that starts to turn around and the share is so oversold, everybody hates it, and the fundamental things can just change a little bit and the technicals play along, you can maybe make easy 20, 30% and look for something else, or then you hold it on for a long time. Imagine you had a 50-year or a 30-year look, and I know some guys say, but commodity stocks, you don't want a 30-year look. But remember, some guys don't know that. Some guys say, I buy Impala Platinum at, let's call it 340 Rand, and I'm holding on for the stock, and for 30 years I'm happy, I'll make my money. That's nonsense, because this stock is cyclical. And some investors don't do it, so they buy it and then they burn their fingers. For me, I say, I will then rather look at the stock, and especially a cyclical stock like Impala Platinum, buy it when it turns around. When I see a confirmation, I'll get in. My stop loss will be the 40-week moving average, 23.15. Buy it above that level of, let's call it 27.60. And hold on, and where's my targets? I mean, for the medium to long term, 33.11. That's 15%. 36 Rand, 35.64. Another 3-4%. Nothing wrong with that. And this, I'm seeing more and more. People that invest in the stock market, yes, they are long-term investors. But in actual fact, they are traders. Because what they say is, we are happy with our profit while the stock goes up. But when the stock turns around, they suddenly turn into traders and they suddenly get nervous and they want to sell out. Well, thank you so much. Till next time.